Mental health is a vital and integral part of overall health and is essential to healthy human functioning. The World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to her or his community. People's mental health is not static, but changes over time, depending on factors like levels of stress and social support. Being mentally healthy does not mean that you feel happy all the time, but rather that despite the ups and downs of life, you are able to bounce back and maintain a positive self-concept and a positive outlook towards others and the world. Mental and physical health is intimately related. Positive changes in mental health can have a positive effect on physical health and vice versa. Mental ill health is an issue for everyone, as 1 in 4 people each year and 1 in 6 at any point in time experience diagnosable mental health difficulties. In the EU, mental health difficulties today account for 20% of the health problems affecting workers, with productivity-related costs running into many billions of euros. We can think about the factors that influence mental health in terms of personal, internal, and environmental external factors. These factors dynamically interact to create a more helpful or hindering context for our mental health. Each of us has a particular optimum mix of these factors that acts as a personal recipe for well-being. Helpful personal factors include having a positive self-concept, realistic attitudes, and a positive, hopeful disposition. Helpful environmental factors include enjoying meaningful activity and supportive relationships. Being the object of discrimination is an example of a hindering environmental factor. While a certain amount of stress in our lives is positive, for example in preparing for a test, the presence of extended stress or extreme stress, for example a traumatic event, can overwhelm a person's coping resources and tip the balance into mental ill health. Mental health difficulties may range from mild to severe in terms of personal distress and their effect on day-to-day functioning. While we do not know exactly why some people develop more significant mental health difficulties, it is more likely that the complex interplay of multiple risk factors creates a greater vulnerability. A fundamental barrier to understanding mental health problems and promoting mental health is the presence of stigma and discrimination. 90% of people who experience mental health difficulties have been the victim of discriminatory behavior. Experiencing discriminatory behavior can be more difficult than the personal experience of mental health difficulties. Negative stereotypes have often led to people being treated as second-class citizens and excluded from the life opportunities that are necessary for good mental health. We are becoming increasingly aware that we can take positive steps to protect and develop our own mental health. We need to strengthen individuals through strategies that protect and promote well-being. For example, wellness recovery action planning, mindfulness, and a healthy lifestyle. We also need to strengthen communities through, for instance, greater social support and civic engagement, and bring about societal change to ensure that structural and attitudinal barriers to participation for all citizens are removed. Traditionally, people thought of mental health difficulties as catastrophic and shameful. We know now, from both personal accounts and scientific evidence, that people can and do recover, and want the same things in life as everyone else. It has been established repeatedly that a majority of people with a diagnosis of schizophrenia, for instance, become symptom-free over time, a finding which has challenged the traditional pessimistic prognosis attached to this type of condition. Mental health recovery is defined in many ways, but can be considered as the restoration and development of psychological and social well-being. While traditionally the term recovery has been used to denote cure and people being symptom-free, an alternative understanding has emerged in more recent years from people with lived experience of mental health recovery. Recovery in this sense, personal recovery, is a universal human experience involving the creation of a fulfilling and meaningful life, sometimes in the face of ongoing challenges or symptoms, and that this ongoing process occurs through the use of personal and environmental resources. Conclusion. Our mental health is a precious asset that enables us to reach our human potential. As individuals, we need to mind our mental health and find ways of nurturing it. As a society, we need to recognize the vital contribution of good mental health to producing healthy and productive individuals and communities. We need to invest in resources that will promote mental health and provide effective, holistic, and personalized services at times of need. Mental health is everyone's business.